Joe, why don't witches wear underwear when they fly their brooms?
Why?
So they can get a better grip.
Oh, because of the suction and the moisture and stuff.
All right.
And then it envelops the. I get it. Okay.
You got that one?
Yeah. All right. I get it.
You are you. All right. So we'll try this one. Okay. Start all over. Here we go. So going to a costume party the other day, management comes downstairs, wearing these knee-high boots and nothing else. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? She says, I'm going as Puss in Boots. I'm like, oh, strip down, run to the kitchen, get a potato, put it on my penis, and I'm like, I'll go as the dictator. the dictator.
Did you end up fucking the potato though?
Don't judge me. don't judge me. Hey, you've seen some of the things I've dated. I've done worse, Joe. I've done a lot worse. Anyways, this is Jacques.
I'm Joe.
Welcome to Carnival Personnel. Welcome or
Spooktacular Carnival Personnel.
Yeah, our last podcast before Halloween and before my trip, but let's get right into what was I going to say? Oh, speaking of Halloweens. Went to not a joke, not a lead-in, one of those pop-up stores, a reimagined Toys R Us.
Reimagined.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's empty and it's got it, so we can rent it out for 1 month at a time.
Right, a repurposed.
Repurposed,
Yeah.
Thank you. Very slim pickings. And it's not because the shelves were empty. It's like the same old, crap in all of them. And I'm like, yeah. The thrift stores, that's where to go. That's where, I was sending you some great photos or the fridge that, I could have got, all that stuff. But it is, it's sad to be in a Toys R Us.
Yeah, was it haunted with the ghost of Jeffrey and pedophiles? Ah!
Oh, you're on today. On what? I don't know.
It's these marshmallow pumpkin things that you got from Brock's. Brock's, you know Brock's. They're the chief competitor of Schrafft's. Remember Schrafft's?
I do.
My father used to work at a Schrafft's, at the Schrafft's in Charlestown.
Really?
Yeah. Before, literally, I think the year before they closed.
So it's his fault.
Yes. Well, he lit the fire. So, mellow cream pumpkins from Brock's, made with real honey. Ew. I
was going to get you some vanilla nut tabs, but Duncan's was all out.
You are the king, Mayor Duncan's.
So Louis C.K. made a local appearance. You hear about this week? Another one of those not,
Speaking of pop-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess Lenny Clark's brother owns a club. And then when they were saying where it was, it's like one host, I was listening to sports radio, one host knew the place and the other one didn't. He goes, it's right next to Prince of Pizza. I'm like, oh man, is that really where Louis C.K. is building his career back up?
Yeah, it's a good Giggles and Saugus.
Giggles and Saugus, yeah.
Well, what's the other one that's on the other side of Route 1? The Chinese restaurant.
Oh, don't say it.
We're big comedy fans, as you can tell.
Kowloon.
Yeah, Kowloon. I was going to say Ding Ho, but that's Davis Harvard Square in the 80s. That was.
Do they have Nick's anymore? Or Nick's
Comedy Stop? I think so. I think maybe not Nick's, but Dick's.
I lived at a
Dick
Nick's.
Doherty's.
There was a Nick's. Nick's was huge.
Yeah, Nick's Comedy Stop
in the early 90s.
There was one in the theater district, right?
Right,
near
that's where I would just go all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I do not know. And this used to be Martini's place. Where do you get off calling me Nick? I don't know you from Adams off Ox. Out you two pixies go, through the door, out the window. And that's another thing. All right.
No, wait.
It's too early. It's
a little. Okay. All right. So you're the bastard who puts the Christmas stuff out in the stores.
Yes, and you're the bastard who never takes them down off the south side of your house.
Don't judge me. Hey, it's Christmas all year in my heart and in my front lawn. So, other notes. I am better than most people because I already voted.
Yeah,
I voted early.
A liberal snowflake. I'll be canceling your vote next week.
Now, ask me. I think we already talked about this, but play along. Ask me what I showed for ID to be able to go in and vote.
What did you show for ID to go in and vote?
Absolutely nothing.
What? What do you live in a state that isn't crazy?
Yeah. Well, I'm also white.
Oh.
And I walked in.
Did you show him the tickets to the gun show?
Pow pow! It was in City Hall, which you can't fight. But I walked in, a couple of guys there, and in my hand, I was ready. I have a California license, so just as a backup, I brought my passport, like 5 different, bills from gas and electric and all that stuff.
Annoying.
On the name. And the guy sees my passport, and the only thing he goes is, like, oh, you can't use passports as IDs. Blah, blah. And I'm like, so I can fly around the world next week and go to 3 distant countries, and I can't use the vote. He goes, no, because it doesn't have an address. And I'm like, well,
what?
Right, yeah, I guess your address, and I didn't, your address isn't.
We have an address.
That's what and then I'm like, wait a minute, my address is, but yeah, whatever.
And then he ran away.
But just because I think I had it in my hand, not that they checked, they're like, okay, well, what's the name? And they looked it up, and they're like, can you verify the address? I set the address, and he had this little screen, like a mini iPad type thing on a stand, and he turned around, I signed in, they gave me my ballot, and off to stuffing the boxes I went.
Yeah, our town is literally an old woman. And you give them a name, and you give them an address. Well, actually, this is how it goes. This is my impression of voting in Arlington.
Street?
I give the street.
Name?
Give the name.
Okay.
That's voting. That's voting in Arlington.
But then other places, not so much.
It was a funny squeaky sound. You couldn't hear a dump truck driving through a nitroglycerin plant.
Okay, that's another Christmas reference. Too soon.
But yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself, and I'm one of those people who, if you don't vote, you can't really bitch. And I voted, so I'll be bitching.
Wait a second. Wait a minute. Nothing's changed.
A paper ballot was nice about that, Can't really hack those.
It wasn't laminated.
It was not. It was no
dry erase marker.
So let's see. I voted straight non-douchebag ticket.
Oh, good for you.
Really? Only 3 ballot questions.
Big ballot questions, I think. Right? But it's if you're a liberal snowflake, it's yes all the way.
Right. Well, what was it? Question 3. Do you want to continue not allowing people to discriminate?
Right. It's one of those opposite questions. Like, do you want to continue not discriminating against?
And I went in knowing what I was going to vote, but then when I'm reading it, I'm like, wait a minute,
It's meant to trip you up. It's literally written that way to 100%.
Trip you up. 100%.
Yes.
But honestly, the question is, do you want to be able to keep from being? Do you want to keep making discrimination illegal
for transgenders?
Right.
Specifically, right. It's basically a law that had been passed last year that this anti-transgender group is trying to have us remove or put on the ballot or put on the floor to be removed by trying to trick people into thinking that we're... it's goofy. It's a goofy question. And question 1 is for nurses. Basically, it means that if you're voting... Why? Who really cares? I mean, nobody...
But I voted. That's it. And I don't understand why more people don't early vote. I mean, you can vote in a lot... Well, I understand because some people don't let you.
And some people, some states don't allow it.
But it was so easy.
But this is like the second election that you've been able to vote early in Massachusetts, so it's not like we've had a long-standing tradition of early voting here. I mean, we're one of the last states to have blue laws, if you remember.
Yeah, there's still a couple of them that are on the books, but anyways, I voted. That makes me better than everybody.
Good for you. So, what do you want to bitch about?
Commence
bitching.
Let's get right into the good stuff. So. It's Friday, breaking down the fourth wall. I send Joe the rundown about 11 o'clock, noonish, 11, something like that. Then on my way to Dan Cray's to do some jamming, and on the way there, it went from this bombs being sent all over the place to we have somebody in custody.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the suspicious bombs.
11.
I lost count. I mean, it started on Monday when George Soros's mailbox had a bomb that they had detonated And then Tuesday is when the windfall happened, when many left-wing and Democratic targets were sent bombs in the mail. We're talking about CNN, who on live television had to evacuate because they got an order in the building.
It was sent to former FBI Director Brennan,
John Brennan,
care of CNN.
Right, because he's a contributor. It was sent to the offices of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and the Obamas. But they were all in these manila envelopes, and they looked like legitimate pipe bombs. None of them went off, so either they were set, like maybe he thought the daylight savings time happened already.
He got confused.
Or he's a bad bomb maker. But it wasn't a false flag. It was a true flag, despite what many right-wing guys on Twitter will have you believe.
Yeah, so I think it was. You're right. Monday, the first couple were discovered. Then Tuesday, a good half dozen more. Then even up to yesterday, was it today or yesterday? Robert De Niro got one?
It was Wednesday that Robert De Niro's
and Cory
office
Booker.
got, yeah, Cory Booker, yep.
But
if all else failed, they all had the return address of Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Right.
The since disgraced head of the DNC.
And so by Wednesday, when it came out that there's a good, almost dozen of these at the time, instantly, and it was so effing obvious that, hey, let's go down the list. These are all enemies of the state. I'm sorry, people that Trump has single-handedly called out, from Maxine Water all the way down. And he even, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday is when the Clintons got theirs. He had a rally. He had one of his pep rallies. And as he's coming up to the mic, there was still the lock them up chant, lock her up, lock her up. It's like, you can't even take a break from this.
No.
Not even for a minute to think, oh, here's a former first lady, former secretary of state, the woman who won the presidential popular vote by 3 million people, and he plays right along with it. But a lot of prominent people, we're not talking Alex Jones with the false flag in Newtown. We're talking pretty much, about half of Fox News coming right out and saying false flag.
Yep.
Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah, all the contributors, Tucker Carlson, Ann Coulter was a recent. The list goes on.
And it's either didn't happen, they sent it themselves, or some liberal to make Trump look bad sent all of these.
Right. And it turned out it was this actually real legitimate crazy guy from...
wait, no, don't... Let me guess. One of those sons of bitches from the caravan. Those fuckers who are coming here to clean our toilets, raise our children, and mow our lawn. It was one of those fucking bastards, right?
You got Van right.
I got Van.
Not the caravan, though. We're talking about the crazy van.
MI6? Was that it? No, that's
MI6 is
MI6
the spy agency.
Who's the Mexican gang that he's always...
Oh, MS-13.
It was MS-13, right?
No.
But it was ISIS.
Are you going to stop?
How brown was this son of a bitch?
How brown was he? He was not brown and olive. He's a white guy from the great state of Florida. Yes. Thank you, Florida, for your maximum Florida protection. You export the finest in domestic terrorists and batshit crazies.
Whoa. You just said he was white.
Oh, right.
How can he be a terrorist?
No, I'm sorry. Mentally disturbed. He's a mentally disturbed, obviously confused, meant to be nice person.
But not white guys can't be terrorists here.
And his van was white, too. That's like double good. Right?
White is right, I guess.
Yeah. You said it.
Can we go over the decorations? Do you call them decorations?
You can't see out of the side of the car because the windows are completely covered with the decals from all the conspiracies that he has ever believed in. And not to mention, they were all this van. Everybody's seen the pictures. It's littered with these bumper stickers and a collage. It almost looks like he went to Kinko's and had these printed professionally, because there was just a collage of Hillary Clinton and Don Lemon, all with targets on their face, or sights, the crosshairs rather, on their faces, and There were a lot of pro-Trump stuff. I saw Harvey Weinstein in there. Like, I'm not kidding.
Why not?
Yeah, you just throw him in there. It was goofy, but then people on Twitter have also, if you read deeper into the Twitter feed, you would see that there was a guy who apparently took a picture of this van like a year ago at a red light. He saw the van and he's like, this is too good to not take a picture of. And then he sees on the news today that the van is belonging to this guy who sent the pipe bombs. And he's like, oh my God, I saw this guy a year ago. And how do they not get arrested?
How is he not on a list?
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, right. He's on a mailing list of great people. But so there you have it. There's luckily nobody was killed. Luckily these were either not meant to go off or just incompetently made.
So I mean, and his lab there. Do you think he made him in the van? Does he have a house, or was he living in a van?
I don't think he was Matt Foley living in a van down by Florida. I think he did have a house, but he also had a domestic violence track record. So, real high class citizenship that's representing the mentally disturbed, not non-terrorists.
Once again, you can't be white and a terrorist.
Yeah, but I do feel bad for Trump because, as he stated to us, all of this bomb talk has taken the focus off of the Republican elections coming up. And all the media coverage has been focusing on this crazy bomb story when they could have been focusing on the Republicans running for, their respective seats in the upcoming election.
So on Wednesday, he had his rally, and as I said...
Wait, we had a rally.
A rally.
There were multiple...
Right.
It's not like he had the one rally of the year.
No.
Big Trump rally.
It's every day. But he came to the stage with the chants, lock her up. And you could see it was truly like the 7-year-old being forced into the nice suit to take the family Christmas picture, just kicking and screaming. And he kept wanting so bad to say awful things, and he couldn't. He had to be constrained, but he had to let you know he was being constrained. And so many times over and over when he would say, usually I would yell that right now, but I'm being nice. We're all being nice today, right? We're all being, because 2 ex-presidents had just gotten, bombs sent to them, and he had to. And I kept thinking the Chris Rock shit, I've never been to prison.
What do you want, a cookie?
I take care of my kids.
He is a cunt.
Yeah. Don't hold back.
No, I'm not going to be nice. According to the president, you shouldn't be nice anymore. And I'm not going to be nice anymore. No more Mr. Nice Guy, unless he comes for me. Then, whatever you want.
But still, I mean, seriously, even in the moments, the awful moments that usually unite a country, like domestic terrorism striking home, whoever's in charge usually finds a way, for a short period of time anyways, to unite people. Instead, this was instant divide and instant. I cannot get over the fact that the name calling and all that stuff. And now you have more and more, like the Pat Roberts, and there was another guy on Fox News yesterday, coming out and flat out saying, you have to respect the president because the presidents are picked by God unless they're not white. And then they're Muslims from Kenya.
Yeah. Even God rested on the day when he created Earth. I was just one day away from blaming the gays for these bombs. Gosh, But anyway, how's that hurricane with wiping out the caravan of them people up in Mexico? Did it work? Did we get them?
Yeah, exactly.
Did it? Okay. All right. Next time, why don't you ramble on over there and tell me more about how good our president is?
Well, speaking of him now, of course, blaming the media. But one last thing on Fox News. Please, Google, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go wherever you want your reliable news sources. And and take a look at the pictures of Fox News's coverage of the van.
Okay, what do they look like?
They blurred it out. They blurred out all the Trump stuff on the van.
Ooh.
They blurred out all the Trump stuff on the van. So anytime, like on the news today, on Fox News, when they showed the van being towed away, they took the time and effort to blur out all the Trump stuff.
I'm surprised that it just didn't like cut to the OJ chase.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we got a white vehicle.
Yep.
But
I think he looks like a Negro.
But the
that was Pat Robertson saying that, not me.
But what's it's just, let's talk about his wanting to put the focus back on politics, shall we? And what is absolutely great is, what are we now? We are 10 days from the election, 9 days for you normies going out and voting. I think like 9 days?
8 days.
8 days from the podcast posting. So 8 days away, but 10 days from the election, the Republicans are now floating a new tax thing, because this whole tax thing before, it took a couple weeks for people to figure out, wait a minute, I'm not getting this tax break. Just the Walmart heirs are getting it. Well, now they're floating out hard and fast. Oh, there's a new tax bill that I'm getting ready to sign for the middle class. And he was asked, it's like, oh, when are you going to sign it? End of October, like we're going to get it done before the election. And one of the reporters, finally, people are starting to show backbone. It's like, Congress isn't in session. Are you going to sign an executive order? Nope, we're going through the proper channels. Congress is working on it. They're going to get me a bill. Yeah, but they're not in session now. So when is it going to be done? We're going to get it done. For you, middle class, for the hardworking people. And the thing is, how many people are out there? Yeah, they're going to get us a tax break. It's like, he's saying it. He's saying it, and even when he's being called out, like, sir, your shirt's on fire. No, it's not, sir. It's burning the layers of skin off you.
I am working with the greatest lottery commissions to give a tax break to everybody who plays the lottery,
which is everybody. I even played it this week because management on the way home was like, "You have to stop and get it," and I'm like, "Oh, it's up to $1 billion," and we didn't play it because it was 900 million. Why?
Right. I don't get out of bed for less than $1 billion. I'm sorry.
But the other great thing is, now they're going back to, if we keep the House, knives and forks up, we are gutting and repealing Obamacare. We are going to finally repeal and replace. It is like the greatest hits. They've been saying the same thing for a decade. Good. You know what? It needs work. It's not close to being perfect. Please repeal it. But let me see what you're replacing it with. And 10 years on, they've yet to ever formally say, this piece of crap we're getting rid of, but we're replacing it with this. So we'll move on from that. We think the Brett Kavanaugh thing is settled. And as awful as it is, like, it's awful. It's done. We can't do anything about it. I don't think we can do anything about it. There's talk about impeaching him for perjury and all these stuff. So it's a dead issue. Time to move on. Correct? Not so fast, says the head of the Judicial Commission. What
Judicial Commission?
Chuck, was it Grassley? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, why
That's
not?
His name? Yeah, he is seeking to bring criminal charges against some of Kavanaugh's accusers.
Oh.
So instead of listening to these victims and heeding their warning and taking it under consideration before making a lifetime appointment, this is one of those old, I think he's pushing 80, the dumb fuck. Instead of taking any of the Me Too, Time's Up, listening to these accusations, listening to the people saying, please have the FBI investigate, have me take a polygraph under, penalty of perjury, any of this stuff. I beg you to investigate. No, we're not going to investigate during the Kavanaugh hearing. But now he wants to open up an investigation because of the disgrace and the hardship that he put, or these women put Kavanaugh through. So
What a fucking tragedy.
All right. Yeah, like one more kick to the old box.
Next.
We already mentioned it. The caravan is coming. I've already mentioned about these monsters, these violent people coming here to
the largest thriller flash mob ever.
Have you seen the pictures of them going over bridges and stuff, like the aerial shots?
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, when you think about it, those shots look massive, but it's really not that many people. I mean, honestly.
I mean, it's more than the Trump inauguration. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you brilliant bastard.
What?
You should say that they're just coming here for the next inauguration. That they're the seat fillers, like they have at like the Oscars,
yeah.
right? These are seat fillers. But seriously, these people are fleeing for their lives, desperate, who are truly coming here to do the jobs that we won't do for ourselves.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe. I mean, we'll see.
You know, and it's interesting because, like, management, she basically, her take on it, we should do for these migrants coming in or wanting to come in exactly. And I can't believe I'm saying this. We should take a page out of the progressive Qataris rule book. They're coming here to work. They're not coming here to vote, which is one of the things that people are floating out there. I've heard it a lot, and I've seen it on like Twitter and stuff like that. Oh, they're getting here coincidentally on election day to vote, which scares the fuck out of people like my mother. It's like they're going to come here to vote, for the Democrats. It's like they're not going to be here before election day. A.
They can't get ballot.
Two.
People who live in the United States can't vote because they're being repressed and suppressed.
Wait. Is this caravan a bunch of middle-aged white guys who look like me? Because maybe they can, Joe.
Okay.
But seriously, when management got her job in Qatar, she had to take a full physical evaluation. Like, I mean, X-ray, like, making sure, blood test, fingerprint, retina scan. If you want to come here and work, you have to agree to pass this physical. Not only just pass, and it was a pretty intensive physical. It wasn't just like, let me take your blood pressure and take your temperature and ask you a couple of questions. It was a real, chest X-ray, all those kind of stuffs. Make sure you didn't have like tuberculosis, all these things. But at the same time, the reason we felt safe over there is no one is over there not to work. No one's going there. I mean, yes, they're trying to have people come on vacation for that. But the migrant workers aren't there to go to the World Cup in 4 years. They're not there to take in the Broadway shows that they're importing over. They're there to work. Most people in that country are simply there to work. And where you can't get out of the country unless you are retina scanned in and out and the fingerprints and all this stuff, you are there to work. Do the same thing. Retina scan them, fingerprint them, and put them on a probation. And I'm basically say you got 90 days to, and even if you wanted to go as far as like putting, ankle monitors around them, it's like a probation thing. If you wanted to do that, but say,
I got to talk you off the liberal edge. That's way, way crazy. I'm sorry. That's a little too crazy because every time as you're talking, I'm thinking Qatar has like $1 billion per like capita, like they're literally the richest country in the world.
Each family gets about 90,000 a year from each country.
I know, but like you're talking about a very, very oil wealthy country,
natural gas.
Yeah,
no, North Dakota
versus the United States, which is broken and corrupt. I hear you. I don't think that could happen.
Well, no, I mean. It could. I mean, look. Wait
a second. Wait. Time out. Okay. We just got off of saying that they want to dismantle Obamacare.
Right.
That's health care for Americans.
Correct.
And now we're talking about proposing why can't they just dog tag these migrants coming over so that they could be more, they can contribute more to society and give them retinal scans, which is cool.
Okay. How much... These children that we stole, let's not ever forget, we stole children, and anybody who didn't go down there and fight for these kids to get out of cages allowed it to a degree. We stole thousands of children from people and detained a lot of people. Just because it is cycled out of the news,
it's still happening.
These camps.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to keep somebody in that camp per day?
Probably a lot of money that's being funded by... major corporations.
Thousands.
Yeah.
No, the major corporations are getting paid to do it. I mean, these internment camps that we have are profit centers. They're just like the for-profit prisons.
Yep.
And they are getting, I mean, it's thousands a day per person in there. So when somebody says we don't have the money to, set up a system where you have like a parole thing where you have to check in weekly or monthly, you have to have a job, we have to fingerprint you. It doesn't take much to fingerprint and retina scan somebody. It takes seconds. It literally takes seconds. And it's like you have 60 days to get a job or, because we keep hearing there are all these jobs out there that people won't take. There are tons of jobs out there. The field work, you go down the list. It's like we're talking the lowest of the low. And if these people came in and did have to sign up and pay taxes, it would pay it literally. When you say we don't have money for X, Y, and Z, but we have money to put these people in cages and keep them there indefinitely. I mean,
the destination is the United States, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So,
but what if But instead of putting them in cages and paying $1,000 a day, why don't we?
Yeah, but they're making money off of them by eventually selling them to, basically selling these kids to nefarious sources. Where these kids are ending up, by the way, are probably being cycled into like some weird like sex trafficking.
Pizzagate, right? They're in the basement of the
yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly where it is.
Hillary's got them in the basement.
Yes, exactly. And look, this has gone off the rails. I don't know what we can do about migrant workers. And by the way, I hope that each and every one of those I'm sure they're all willing to work, and I'm sure that
they're willing to walk thousands of miles in the riskiest parts of the world
to escape death.
They're trying to get out of wars in Honduras, so they're walking through
Mexico,
the gang cartels, to come here to clean toilets. But they're not coming here to do anything but work.
To do customer service.
To run podcasts. They're trying to take our jobs, Joe.
Oh no, please don't. No.
We can barely hold on with these defunct sponsors of the week.
Foolish friends, Freddy Krueger is on your phone. Dial this number now. I've got some tales to tell. Freddy's favorite bedtime stories. Dead-time stories. All brand new. Straight from my boiler room to your home. It's Freddy Krueger on your phone. So dial this number now if you dare. Tell him Freddy sent you.
$2 the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Children, get your parents' permission before you dial.
Joe, you are going to lead the charge with sport this week.
I just want to congratulate the... I can't.
Go for it.
I can't. I don't know what's happening. We're in the twilight zone here. We're recording this on a Friday before Game 3 starts of the World Series between the Red Sox and the Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yes. The Brooklyn, what were they called?
The Trolley Dodgers.
No, but before that, like when they first faced them in the World Series, they were called like the Brooklyn Bisons or something like that. They had like a weird other name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They were talking about it on Game 1.
Look at you, Roy Hobbs.
Yeah, exactly. Look at me mangle history of sports. Anyways, but by the time you hear this, either Game 4, either they've won the World Series, the Red Sox, or that we're waiting for Game 6
tomorrow.
Yeah. So, or we don't know what's happening. So. Yay, sports.
I'm going to say congratulations to the 2018 Alex Cora-led world champion Boston Red Sox. Please don't burn down my house.
You would not ever. 2004 you would punch 2004 you in the face. 2018 you in the face.
Well, dude. 2004 would have to wait in a line for all the reasons I would punch 2018 Jacques in the face. Become a big fat fuck is one of them.
Oh, gosh.
But I want to go back to Game 1. Joe, what would a Carnival Personnel podcast be without a Hitler reference?
Oh, boy. Incomplete, I would say.
I submit to you, kind sir, Kurt Schilling. No, I'm sorry. It was Game 2. So Game 1, I forget who threw out the first pitch for Game 1.
Tim Wakefield?
No. But for Game 2, they marched out the 2004 world champions. Yeah, like Kevin Lowe, Kevin Millar, Wakefield, my boy Veritek. Wakefield and Veritek were my two all-time favorite Red Sox.
Yeah.
Like, hands down. Absolute too.
The Band of Idiots.
So yeah, they had so many. Not all of them, but they had so many. I guess Some of them couldn't make it for obligations. I don't think everybody was invited. I know lots of them were invited, and they flew them in from 4 corners of the globe. However, the invitation to one Kurt Schilling got lost in the mail. Even though he lives locally and was willing to drive himself in, they did not invite him.
Why didn't he just rent a van and come up himself?
And that's probably why they didn't invite him. Now, granted, not everybody, I don't know. Manny wasn't there. I know Manny Ramirez wasn't there.
He didn't. Just Manny being Manny,
right? Manny being Manny. Didn't leave on the best of terms.
Pedro
had a lot
Martinez.
to shit. But Pedro's in the building anyways. As him and Ortiz. I think Pedro was working for.
Pedro was on TBS.
That's what I mean. Pedro was in the building for TBS. Oh no, he was in the studio. Right. Okay.
But TBS isn't showing it. It's all Fox now.
Right, but it's all But he's been
He's
been at a lot of the games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's around the park, around the guys.
Okay.
But Kurt Schilling, very, very upset, and ended up, putting out a diatribe on Facebook at like 2 a.m. But it started off by early, you know what, I didn't get invited, but the guys out there throwing the first pitch, they all know what I did, and none of them have ever questioned, my manhood and my dedication and my, what I did for the team and what we did, and they can never take that away from us. Almost took the high road. Then it set in, maybe a few beers,
the Ambien,
maybe a few. He thought the bitch was white. Maybe a few. I don't know, letters from the state of Rhode Island wanting their money back for his failed video game company. Maybe the people who, as you said, when the hurricane happened in Houston, instead of flying maybe 500 miles away and renting a truck and bringing supplies, he had a grandstand and borrow a trailer from here and then left it in North Carolina.
It broke down.
Right. And he didn't tell the guys. And then months later, they're like, we'd like our trailer back. Anyways, he's a piece of shit who, quote unquote, collects World War II memorabilia.
Which side?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what causes a lot of issues. You can only go out for Halloween so many times as Adolf before people are like, wait a minute, that's just your excuse to what is it?
Cosplay?
No, what the march goose step? Goose step around.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was not happy. But I am happy for our friend Steve, for my sister, for you, for Jim and John Hunt and the real diehards.
And Fred's house. And
all the diehards who I know.
Yeah. And you. God damn it. Stop it already.
Okay, I will tell
pretending.
you. I will tell you. I'm still, what am I happiest about?
The Yankees lost.
Thank you. And what was really great, game 2 is the bottom of the 9th. There's one batter left. And what do the near 40,000 people at Fenway start chanting?
Oh, the old standby.
Yankees suck.
Yankees suck.
The end of the Patriots game. Last week it was the
garbage time. Yeah,
same thing. They're beating Miami, they're pulling away, and just the whole fourth quarter wasn't go Pats, wasn't anti-Miami. It was full on Yankees suck. So I am not. We are now talking 2 series back. Like Houston didn't even happen.
Hey. Are they wrong?
They're not.
Although, speaking of crowds chanting, I like watching the post games of the in Boston, especially Game 2. This is one I saw because it didn't end at 1 a.m. or whatever. Anyway, David Ortiz is one of the commentators, and their stage is right outside on Jersey Street, formerly known as Yawkey. Can I say?
Did they officially change it?
Oh yeah, it's done.
Okay.
Yeah, Yawkey. It's Jersey Street, and so it's right across. It's right outside of Fenway Park, and you have Big Papi, Frank Thomas, and one more guy, A-Rod.
Oh right,
A-Rod there. So what do you see? They're not disrespectful, but I see a lot of Jennifer Lopez signs being held up in the background.
Wow.
And chanting Poppy. You couldn't hear what he was trying to say. Not because of the accent, but because they were chanting Poppy, Poppy.
like the day of, before they got down to the Fenway and they were doing their stuff in the studio, they had A-Rod come out in a in a Red Sox uniform.
Oh, yes.
Dude, and the thing is, he was supposed to be a Red Sox.
Oh, really?
Yes, the whole thing,
Oh.
the whole,
I was
the
waiting for the
whole
punchline,
thing.
but
No,
there's
no,
more.
the whole thing with Nomar. This is how powerful, probably the most powerful players' union in all of sports is the baseball. I mean, hands down, it's the most powerful one. It's the only one with guaranteed contracts. Like you can't cut a contract. You can't cut somebody loose. It's all guaranteed money, baby. So what had ended up happening is, A-Rod had this $250 million 10-year, $25 million at the time, an unheard of contract. Unheard of. Now, yeah, it's
Megan Kelly money.
yeah, exactly. Your seventh inning reliever who only pitches to left-handed players on night games is getting close to that. But it was unheard of money. The Rangers sucked. A-Rod, hands down, the best player in baseball. This is before all the steroid stuff hit. But hands down, the best player in baseball. The Red Sox had it with Nomar at this point, and they were trying to make a trade. They actually traded him, and Nomar had to sign off on it. Like, he had a no-trade thing. But he's, at this point, he's like 5, 6, 7 years into his career. He's going to never play in a postseason game. I mean, the Rangers are very much like the Baltimore Orioles, generally mathematically eliminated by the end of April. They've played 20 games, they got 140 to go, but somehow they're mathematically eliminated. He wanted to come to Boston. Not only did he want to come to Boston, was willing to take less money. So Major League Baseball signed off on it. The Red Sox signed off on it. The Rangers signed off on it. It was a done deal. The next day, the Players Association said, nope, not so fast. We cannot and will not allow a contract to be devalued. Even if the player agrees to it, it will set a bad precedent. No, you will not take less money to go and play. And they nixed the deal. And then that's why the Red Sox got fucked, because they basically, at that point, once you tell a player, especially somebody who's disgruntled, as Nomar was at the time, it's like, hey, pack your shit, you're out of here. You can't come back the next day and say,
Buddy!
hey, oh,
We still got your plate on your name plate on the locker. Look, we polished it for you.
well, let me get that gum from the trash off of here. Yeah, so Nomar wanted to come to Boston, and at that point,
Alex
Rodriguez. So sorry, yeah. So that's ended up how he wound up going to the Yankees, because the Yankees were willing to overpay at that point. They're like, okay, yeah, we are happy to do this, and then they stepped in and they basically bought him.
Hey, so we dodged a bullet. Good.
Well. Or did we? I mean, he might have been a great fit. Maybe we wouldn't have. But you know what? The way it worked out, I wouldn't change it.
I mean, Alex Rodriguez was not so much of a... I mean, he was on one of the best teams in baseball and basically cursed them. I mean, they did not...
He really... Well, it was one of those things where he did fine through the first contract. He didn't do well in the playoffs. He, like a David Price, he didn't do well in the playoffs until he did. And it was like 10 years of playoff failure. The problem with him is he kept getting popped for the steroids. And the other thing, when you sign a 31-year-old guy to a 10-year contract who's had health problems, and it's a guaranteed contract in the last 5 years of the contract, it's like, it's okay to pay somebody $30 million a year in baseball if you're getting $30 million of playing time out of them. But if they're hurt, they can't play, suspend it. So anyways, that's what I know about A-Rod. But it was creepy seeing him. It was like creepy. And like Ortiz, and everybody's laughing, but I'm like, I felt...
Dirty, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, like you're watching like a snuff movie or something.
Speaking of dirty and snuff films, for absolutely ever, the talk around here has been, is it Brady or is it Belichick? Would Belichick have been the greatest coach of all time without Brady? I mean, you got people like me saying, hey, he coached in 4 Super Bowls before he got here. He won 2 Super Bowls. His defensive scheme for the 86 Super Bowl, is in the Hall of Fame. It's like when the Giants won in 86, they didn't rush and put Parcells on their shoulder. They put Belichick on their shoulders. The defense did. He was considered a defensive genius, a guru, like really young at the time. So he would have been a great coach. The greatest of all time, I don't know. If Brady had played in any other city, maybe if he wound up with in Indianapolis, with an offense first mindset, a dome and all these things.
Yes.
But would he have got to 8 Super Bowls? Possibly 9 this year. You don't know. And I'm one of those guys. It's like the Beatles. It's like John Lennon had one hell of a career post-Beatles, and Paul McCartney had one hell of a career post-Beatles, as did George Harrison. And truly, as much as you want to joke about it, or some people joke about it, Ringo Starr had a hell of a career.
Teacher, where are we going with this?
Together, as the Beatles, they were greater as a whole than the sum of their parts.
Exactly. And as our Belichick and Brady.
Well, over the last year, Kraft himself, Robert Kraft, has been working really hard. And you've heard whispers from like people who cover the team and other people that he is really starting to, at the end of this, as the sun sets, we got another year, maybe 2 more great years, maybe 3, but we got another year or 2. But the sun will set sooner or later. I mean, Brady's 41, but now Kraft is really trying to insert himself in the mix. And it's been gawing at me all season because as I sit here now, as week 8 has passed, we're past the halfway mark, I still haven't donned any stuff. They're now the one of the 3-4 best teams. They're back in the conversation, one of the 3-4 best teams in football. The ugly start, and they've had ugly starts before, but now they've won 5 in a row. They go into the halfway mark 6-2. I'm liking it, but I'm still not wearing the stuff, and almost like A-Rod wearing, the Red Sox stuff. Just feel dirty. I mean, I actually looked at the hat and the jersey in the closet the other day. I'm like, yeah, I can't yet. And really now it's Kraft, and I'll tell you what set me off, Joseph. Thank you for asking. On 98.5, before each game,
The Sports Hub.
They run a half-hour show about an hour and a half before kickoff, about an hour before kickoff, the history of the Patriots since Kraft. Like, they own the station. They own this time. And it is the most self-serving, and it's 100% all the stuff that Robert Kraft did to buy the team, turn the team around. It's interviews with his son, interviews with him, local politicians, all the people, all the pieces. And no one has ever said anything except you are the greatest owner. You stay out of the way. You don't meddle until last year. And you fucked up with Bill Parcells. And then you got Pete Carroll in here, who wasn't bad, but he wasn't Parcells, and definitely wasn't Belichick, and you meddled a lot with Pete Carroll, and that's why when you got Belichick, anyways, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. I will sum it up by saying I've never heard a more self-serving, masturbatorial, I am the greatest, and let me in my own words tell you why. And this past week, it really capped it off. He's like, we owned the team for 5 years before, Brady and Belichick, and we were in the playoffs 4 out of 5 years. I don't know if there's another owner who's ever come into football and made the playoffs 4 out of their first 5 years, and we made it to a Super Bowl. So
I'm Robert Kraft, and I approve this message.
yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm still so like the whole pissing contest that they've had for the last 18 months. And now this thing, I'm like, yeah, don't make me not even be able to listen to the pregame on the radio.
Oh, that's too bad. I mean, Robert Kraft, I think deep down he's a kind guy, but he's kind of going off the rails.
But
a little bit.
now he's 80.
He's lost his love of his life.
And he literally wants, he's hurt that he's left out of the conversation. It's like, dude, it's great. You paid these guys. You brought him in. No one will take away probably the best first-round draft pick in the history of the New England Patriots. Unarguably, Bill Belichick. Because he was a Jets coach for 24 hours. He signed a deal with the Jets, then resigned, and part of the collusion and the negotiation, the Patriots had to give up their first-round draft pick to get him. So we got Bill Belichick for a first-round draft pick. Yeah. The best first-round draft pick The only first round draft pick to have, let's see, he was around for like 2 years before Brady, and he made the playoffs. So he's made the playoffs 18 of the 20 years he's been the head coach. I'd say that's pretty good for a, but yeah, I mean, that's, and lastly, the Patriots are, back at 6-2 after having, embarrassed the Bills on Monday Night Football, which why
it hasn't happened yet.
Which why the Bills
hasn't happened yet.
Well, the Patriots were so inspired by the World Series win of the Red Sox that
we can look ahead to 2 games this week.
We really can, but they're playing in Buffalo,
Right.
and Buffalo.
It's a fait accompli. Yeah, I know.
And so the Patriots start 1-2. And in their 1 win, they didn't look good. In their 2 losses, they looked horrible. Miami, their first 3 games, I think 2 of the first 3 games, they scored over 40 points against good teams and just looked like juggernauts. Since then, they've gone 1-4. Patriots won 5 in a row, and it's back to being the AL. What is it? The AL least.
Oh, right.
It's like the Jets. Same thing. The Jets, the first 3 out of the first 4 games, it's like the Jets rookie quarterback. It's like, oh, this is the future. It's like we could have some challenges over the next couple years. So the Jets and the Bills first round draft picks were quarterbacks, and they're first round quarterbacks. I mean, they're kids, but yeah, so far, the Patriots didn't play on Thursday night, but they moved ahead in the standings because Miami got walloped. But anyways,
and who are they playing next week?
Well, let's see. This week they are playing the Bills,
yes,
and Orchard Park. And then next week
is it a bye week? Or?
No, they have like Tennessee, and then they have 2 more
You're
games.
the only 10 I see.
And then they have the bye week, and then they got the Jets on the 25th.
I just asked for next week. I don't need to let you.
Okay, well, there you go. Fair enough. So we're moving off for sports and we have a lot to talk about video game wise.
You better believe it. I'm playing Red Dead Redemption.
And
1. I've owned the game for like 2 years. I bought it at a Goodwill for like $3. I'm like, you know what? This is a really good game. So I've heard. I should play it when the second game comes out 2 years from now, which is what I'm doing. So Red Dead Redemption 2, which apparently is getting like 11 out of 10 ratings. Like this is like game of the year, game of the decade. I will eventually pick up Red Dead Redemption 2 as soon as I get through Red Dead Redemption 1. If you're not familiar with Red Dead Redemption, it's Rockstar, who does the Grand Theft Auto games. They came out about 7 years ago with this game. It's an open world. It has a single player mode, storyline, and all that, but it's still like an open world, Wild West story. And I'm just getting familiar with it. I can't even I'm so bad at this. I don't even remember the main character's name. It starts with an M, and I'm going to kill myself when I remember it after I listen to the podcast on Monday. But it's, I've played 10 minutes of Red Dead Redemption 1. It's fun.
What platform?
It's Xbox 360. Well, one came out for the Xbox and the PlayStation, as did Red Dead Redemption 2. So it's a cross-platform thing. I think it came out for PC as well. But so in 7 years, I'll be talking about Red Dead Redemption 2 when I play that. But other than that, I talked about beating Marvel Spider-Man last week. Wait,
when you talked about beating Spider-Man last week, and upon leaving, you were about to download some DCL.
The DLC? Oh, yeah.
DLC. Apologies.
Yeah, that's fine. You're dumb. So, no, I was kind of... There is DLC available. It wasn't available. There was a patch that had added a new game plus mode where you could start the game over, but with all of the abilities and all that. And then there was additional DLC that you can buy, which is like another 2-hour story mode. And I forget who the character is. It's a female character, it's a black cat or something like that. I forget. And that I didn't download because it wasn't available at that time. Now it is, but now that I know it's paid, you have to buy it. I probably won't get it. Long story short, I didn't do much else except play a little bit more Spider-Man than I did last time. And what's new with you? Are you still carving your way to try to 100% Arkham
I'm at
Origins?
99%.
Wow.
And there was 2 challenges that I'm like, oh, I'm just going to have to give up. And shockingly, they were like, oh. Like one of them, I didn't know I beat, and then I got out of the room, and then it pops up. It's like, oh, because I used X number of combinations in a big fight thing. You know, it was like, you have to take down people with like 14 different kind of takedowns. And I didn't know there was 14 takedowns.
Your trials and tribulations of trying to 100% Arkham Origins is like the recount election, you know, like, and just like, or, you know, anything that's like really close. It's like, no, I just recount it one more time. I know I won this. I know I won this election. Now I got to concede.
And so last night, like 2 days ago, because I'm a great dad and a loser, there was one tiny little thing left to beat the Riddler to get his 280 hidden things around the city. And then you go back to his lair. And it was kind of cool because I waited till the after school, like the next day for both boys to come home. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but here we go. You go back into his lair. And it was kind of cool. You hack into his room and you have to bust down a wall. And there's a trophy in that room, and it's a trophy from all the other games. Like in the first game, there were these data packs, and it wasn't the glowing green thing, and it had like the schematics for what he was going to use in the future. So you get the first trophy. So it's kind of cool, but it's also one of the things that's like, now what?
Right.
Yeah. I spent days trying to get this. Game's done. Did all the challenges, and then today there was one of those extra maps that you have to beat where you have to take down these guys in 3 different ways type thing. I did it, and I click out, go back to see 100%. And as you know, when you 100% a game, there's a knock on the door, somebody's there with a big oversized check.
Usually a topless woman.
Confetti falls down, big ticker tape parade, you know, the news team's there. Right, that's how it usually works.
Yes.
That's why, okay.
Yep.
And it wasn't there. And now I have to figure out, it's like, well, what the fuck is this? So I went back in, and it's like, oh, it's one of those flying things. I'm like, I beat this before. You know, I get there, and the icon's on the map, but you get there, and it's like, it doesn't trigger. I'm like, what in is this one? But I worked so hard, and now the last 4 weeks, and I switched out systems, and I did, which all true.
It's almost like you were waiting for like money to come out of the PS3. Like it's like, oh, I won.
Right. Wait. It doesn't.
No.
Yeah, you.
Oops.
So
Cat's out of the bag.
So speak and because I'm current, we're the little guy, and I think it's because it was on Netflix that we talk about. He watched Doom about a week ago. So the Rock movie Doom is on.
Oh yeah.
And so he lived for Doom. Like he really got into Doom like 4 years ago. You know, when he was 7.
Right. Rated M for mature.
Because I'm a good parent.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of those things. So it's after game 2 of the Red Sox. The next morning, we're driving to school. We're not chatting about the Red Sox and about, oh, my day and my favorite players and this is this. You know, we were talking about Doom. And I became even more hero dad because he didn't know what BFG meant.
Ooh.
And he's like, and I'm like, you really? He goes, no. And I Google it, and I hand him the phone, and he's looking at it, and his eyes light up. I'm like, big fucking gun.
Yeah, baby.
And then I told him the story, and on the way home, I had it queued up when The Rock was doing promotion. Jon Stewart was still... That's how old the movie is and how old the game is. He was on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and he brought the BFG. And Jon Stewart was like oozing in his pants. And it's like he hands him it, and he's like, "Is this made out of lead?" You know, and yeah. And
back when gun violence was like happy.
So yeah, so instead of being the dad after game 2 talking baseball on the way to school,
you got your own sports to bond over.
And then he, so he watches those music videos based on the games, and he's been asking for Cupheads. Are either one of you guys into Cupheads?
Cuphead is a game that's only available on Xbox. Or PC.
So it hasn't come out on...
It will not.
It will not.
No, it's a Microsoft game.
So he liked it. He's seen it played, and he liked the song. And it sounded like this Scatman Crothers type singing it, and I like, let me see that. I'm like, is this the game? Have you seen the game?
Oh, it's awesome, yeah.
Is it the people who drew Popeye cartoons make it?
No, but it was inspired by the Max Fleischer style. Yeah.
Okay.
It was inspired by that, yeah. So it's supposed to take place in that universe. But yeah, it looks like that's why it was like a really like kind of a head turner when it had come out. It's like it's this run and gun game where you play this character who has a cup for a head, and then there's Mugman, who is his sidekick if you play the 2-player role.
What does he look like?
He has a mug. But each character has like the Mickey Mouse white gloves, and they're shooting. Their weapons are their finger guns. So they're just like shooting like blue and red lasers out of their finger guns.
Do they say pew pew pew? Pew?
No, they do not say it. But it's a really hard game. Like it's a really super challenging, like pros only, like no pussies allowed, kind of game. But it's the animation style looks like it's literally like a 1930s animated movie, and I have not played it because I do not own an Xbox nor a powerful PC. I have a Casio.
I'm gonna say good night.
So what else is going on? What are you watching?
No, do you want to do a review?
Oh yeah, random.
Yeah, there you go. Wait, you're not getting off the hook that easy.
Crap! I try and I try and I try, but here goes.
Very try.
Yeah, there is no try, only do. So there goes Jacques, looking for a game from the Nintendo Entertainment System collection that I so dearly love. He's going over also to my bookshelf, which has one book. It's the Ultimate NES. Yeah, Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the NES Library, 1985 to 1995, written by Pat Contry, also known as Pat the NES Punk on YouTube. So he pulled the game off the shelf, and I'm going to say it's not Jurassic Park. It's not Karate Kid. Is it Karate Champ? Yay, got it right. Karate Champ by Data East. This was actually, it's a port of a arcade game, and you've probably seen this in the arcades. It's, you have a man in a white gi on one side and a man in a red gi on the other side. And it's just like, it's almost like a Street Fighter setup, but this is pre-Street Fighter. And then you have a referee in the middle that says fight. And then you just creep toward each other and just try to karate each other until you knock the other person down and you score points. It's almost like the Karate Kid in that respect, but the settings are like, in outdoors.
Can you sweep the leg?
No, you cannot. But you do. There is no mercy. So they got that right. Karate Champ, it's an okay game. It's like, it's one of those pick up and play better with one of your friends than versus the computer because, friends are always better than computers.
I don't know that to be true.
That's maybe not true. So now I'm going to read an excerpt of what may be Pat Contry's review, but he gave it 3 stars. And this is actually written by his companion, life mate, Ian Ferguson. That's the Karate Kid. Karate Champ, 3 stars, written by Pat Contry. This one-on-one fighting game consists of opponents attempting to score points by successfully striking with a punch or kick in 30-second rounds. Players will attempt to land attacks to earn half and full points depending upon the move landed. So this is, it's a decent game. Nice pick up and play. It came out in '86, so it's one of those early, Nintendo release games. It's not gonna. I cannot put my kid through college on this card. I can tell you that. It's probably a good $3 game, and it's like $4.29 used. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I've seen enough.
You could maybe afford Trump University.
I'll get what I paid for. So that's that Karate Champ. Okay, game.
As far as what I'm watching,
Yep.
Nothing.
Oh yeah, right. You've only been sports.
Just sport a little. Not well. I mean, after the Patriot win for that night and the next night, it's nothing but watching the same highlights over and over and over. And
you're not watching Making a Murderer Part 2, which I'm not.
Is that?
It's on Netflix.
No. No.
No,
I mean, maybe management will because she was really into
The first
the
one.
podcast of it.
Oh no, that's Serial.
That's Serial.
Making a Murderer is about Stephen Avery, who was the guy who was he was wrongfully accused originally of another crime, and then was exonerated, and then a year later.
Oh, and they had to pay him a shitload of money.
Right.
Like the city owed him a ton of money.
Right, and then they got a crime. Then there was a disappearance of a woman who came to his car lot. Like he was like a junk guy, and he compacted cars and whatever. And somebody came, a reporter had come over, and she went missing. Turns out her bones were found burned and buried in his lot. So he was accused of the murder, but then there were some suspicious things going on. Anyways, long story short, I'm not getting into Making a Murder, but that's what that was about. But there was a follow-up because his nephew was also convicted of as being an accomplice. Yeah, and
is he special needs?
Yeah, right. Like he's developmentally challenged. He was a teenager when the crime happened.
I remember management played me a clip where he's talking to his mother on the phone from prison, and they used a word. I don't remember what it is. And he's like, I don't know what that word means. And his mother's like, I don't either.
Wow. Yeah, Brendan Dassey is the kid's name. But I think this series, the follow-up is basically trying to get him. They're following his potential, parole hearings and getting him exonerated, and not going well. Not going well. He's still in prison. But as far as what I'm watching, I will sneak in one thing.
Please.
It caught me by surprise last night. I was watching a rerun of Beetlejuice on, God forbid, basic cable. But whenever Beetlejuice is on, I got to watch it. Classic. Even if I have to sit through a commercial.
Now you've said it twice.
Oh, God. Because if you say Beetle, whoa. So
I make no apologies.
So at the end of that, it was on Paramount Network, which used to be Spike TV. But they've rebranded, and I think for the best, because in the Me Too generation, I don't know if Spike
so
TV...
the Man Show is not in syndication?
Exactly. They've lost their rights to that show, but now they're premiering really actually good shows. They had like that about a month ago. They had that Waco series about the David Koresh story, which was pretty good. I didn't see it, but I heard good things.
I heard it was blown up.
You see there what you did. But what caught me by surprise, which I did like, and I thought when I was watching it, they said TVMA for like language, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It was like, oh my God, like this is like HBO level, like Netflix, like they didn't bleep any of the curse words or anything like that. It's a series reboot of Heathers. Oh. So you remember the movie Heathers from '88?
Dude, one of the best.
Yeah,
that's
this series is well done. It's very well done. It's got that same...
That movie made Christian Slater.
Yeah. And Shannon Doherty makes a little... Her character plays a role briefly in this new series, but it follows a new set of teens. And there are 3 Heathers. One of them is a transgendered male who calls himself Heather. Well, I don't know if it's transgendered or gender neutral or whatever the hell.
I don't know what letters.
Yeah, I give up. I think
I don't care.
I think there's an asterisk in there now.
All I know is I voted that you can't discriminate.
Right, but Heathers, the TV series on Paramount Network, was actually really funny. It's well written. The pacing is good. It's like got the over the top, and it does like it's a little too maybe too anxiety ridden for you because the whole premise of Heathers is like that they got that clique, and obviously, there's more to the movie Heathers than what I'm saying now. But the group of Heathers in this series is headed by a person who's into that sort of gotcha shaming, where like there's a kid in the lunchroom and he's a jock, but he's wearing a something squaws logo, like it's like Wichita Squaws or whatever, like that's the name of their mascot, and she takes a picture of him and then like posts it to her feed, and then like the next day, like he's off the team and like he's being his life is ruined, he's not going to get the scholarship, and it just like it's like, oh my God, like this is sort of like kind of what this current wave of fire Megyn Kelly and fire this person and fire Roseanne and fire everybody that's...
Thought the bitch was white.
Yeah. Fire awful people. Granted, the awful firings that are happening are great, but it's also like, oh, there is another side to, the sort of...
Al Franken.
Well, yeah, exactly, right. There are hit jobs out there, but anyways, I'm rambling. Go watch Heathers on Paramount Network. There's 2 episodes already out. I'm sure there'll be more in the coming weeks.
And trick or treating, you
I don't know.
You figured out
No, my younger is 12, and he honest, yeah. Well, he doesn't know if he's going trick or treating, and if so, what?
Oh, if I was his dad, I know if he was going trick or treating. There's free candy. You get your ass out there and you bring it home.
Well, or you can start a podcast and have the sucker bring the candy to you.
Well done,
Work smarter, not harder. That's what I say.
Done.
It's cold out there.
Well done. My only parenting tip of the week is really for the parents. Don't be a douchebag and get sugar-free stuff or pencils or that crap. Get real candy. Get good candy. Help make children you don't know's teeth rot out of their head like they should. Seriously, no crap. No.
Yes.
Don't give me the allergy thing. I get it, but even if you have allergy things, find some fun things to give. No.
Just give them a pack of refined sugar.
Yeah, seriously. Why not?
Make cavities great again.
Look, it says right on it, bag of glass. Make cavities great again. Hopefully, I don't know what we're going to do the next couple weeks because I leave on the 1st. I leave in 3 days for 12 days. So far, they paid me.
Suckers.
Done. Seriously. Even if I don't show up, they paid me. They paid Price is Right. We got our tickets.
You know what you're getting into.
I say let them crash. I'll be gone from the 1st to the 12th. That's 2 Sundays, or 2 Fridays, or 2 Saturdays, whenever.
2 Fridays. Yeah.
But if you could figure out, I'm happy. But now here's the thing. I know. In Qatar, they restrict, and I completely forgot about this. There's some things that they have restricted, but you might have to download another app. Like it used to be, you could talk on WhatsApp, but now you can just text on it. Oh. But but I think FaceTime doesn't work because they want the people living there to be forced to use the local carriers thing. So you can have an iPhone and all this stuff, but if you want to use it for international,
you can't Skype
calls. I'll find out which one it is. I'm happy to keep this train rolling.
We got to talk about the election.
Unless because think of the 4 people. Think what would poor Floor do if we don't have a podcast next week? I say
probably talk to Steve.
Think what poor Floor would do if we don't have a podcast next week. No, I'd say you could do something like take all the opening jokes and string them, or better yet, the best of chewing while talking. If you could isolate the opening of the cans and the chewing, an hour solid of that with a Dan Cray song at the end, would anyone really notice?
Get ready for the best of
I would love it if you literally posted bringing down the fourth wall like Joe every week. We chat for a couple minutes and he tests, to make sure that the batteries and everything work and that the lining. The most awful, racist, misogynistic, awful.
Yeah, but they already know about you.
Yeah, but sometimes you.
What? No.
Never. But I am. We're trying to figure out because, yeah.
Wait, or just how about nothing?
I think we know because we
could take a break.
We could, but we did bury the lead. I'm pretty sure there's nobody listening except maybe Jim who doesn't kind of lean towards our side of the political spectrum. I don't care where you're listening from, where you are, what you do. Voting matters. And here's the bottom line, and we joke about it a lot. If your vote didn't matter, why are they trying so hard to take it away?
Why do you think they call it dope?
But seriously, if it didn't matter,
Of course.
Why? Why would they be And then, and we did talk about that. A tape leaked out where there's and these have come out all over the time over the years. The GOP know their days are numbered. They just do. I mean, like Fox News itself. I mean, my parents are doing great, knock on wood, but that demographic, and so
I don't know. I'm worried. I actually kind of
I might not come back.
Right, exactly. Why bother?
Because I will be. So we started Abu Dhabi and then go to Kuwait. I will be in Kuwait during the elections, and I will not relocate to Kuwait, but I will find my good friend Hafen in Sweden, who's lived there long enough that he's had he has permanent residency status and he's trying to get citizenship. He's maybe 6 months, a year away.
So you're going to try to ruin that for him?
I am going to go build an Emmett from the Lego movie, a couple double-decker couches, bring the boys and management over. I really don't want to come back if this blue wave does not happen.
Yeah, come on, Blue Wave. What the fuck? Get up off your...
Do you want to make a prediction? No, because you got another week. We got another week before that.
We do have another week before the election. I don't know. I'm a little shaky about this senatorial election with Elizabeth Warren and Jeff Deal.
Yeah. You called it. I mean, she's running for president right now.
Yeah, but I'm also... there's that, and I'm not too sure that all of the Democrats that live in Massachusetts that are registered to vote are going to vote.
They don't.
In Massachusetts. I think they're just going to... We suck. I mean, sorry, Democrats suck when it comes to voting.
Especially midterms.
Yeah, this is the worst. I don't see this going well.
Look, seriously, we talked about the ballot question flat out about the nurses is important. Damn it, I'm forgetting what question 2 was. But question 3, flat out. We pass these laws saying you can't discriminate based on race, creed, color, gender identity, X, Y, and Z. Do you want to keep it? Yes or no? That matters. Because if it didn't matter, there wouldn't be... You can't get a ballot question out there unless a shitload of people signed a shitload of documents, got a shitload of other people to sign it, and paid a lot of money. To get ballot questions out there takes well-coordinated efforts. So there is a huge push to be able to go back to discriminating. You have to go vote on that. If you don't want Charlie Baker to win, but Charlie Baker is definitely going to win re-election, yeah, there's still the Elizabeth Warren thing. There's still those ballot questions. I'll be honest, I didn't vote for there was some school committee thing and Drake it like a regional thing. I don't know either person running, and I'm not going to just I like the name Matt more than I like the name Patrick, so I'm going to vote for Matt. So I left it blank.
That's where you pull out the Republican strategy and just vote D.
They didn't have D's or R's next to it, But seriously,
well, you're right, because there's no party affiliation with it.
But honestly, it fucking matters. Elizabeth Warren, even if you don't love her, even if you hate her,
fucking Democrat,
you cannot. Anything to do if there's a really great chance of getting the House. There's a chance of getting the Senate. However, even if you don't get the Senate, you can't lose one more vote than you have, because it hasn't happened much, but there happened that the one time that McCain didn't vote to repeal Obamacare, well, that was a swing vote. There are no moderate. There are no moderate Republicans, but there are less absolute fuck nuts than all. Now they're all awful. Yeah. You need the House. You need the House, and you need the Senate. No. And your election, I don't care where the fuck you are, elections matter.
Yeah, unless you're in Canada. Fuck off. Wait.
Then will you marry me, and can I get citizenship?
Question 2, by the way, is a commission on limiting election spending and corporate rights. So snooze fest, but yes, we wanted to limit that as well. Get money out of politics.
It fucking matters.
So vote yes. And on questions 1 through 3 in mass, vote blue and Democratic, no matter who's a pedophile, maybe. I don't want to name names or cast aspersions, but you know what? We can't have any more Republicans in power, because we've seen what they've done with the
They're
keys.
Awful.
They're awful.
All
people.
of them.
Awful. Yes. Right. We know what's going to happen. So, on that note, who's going to play us out this week? Is it going to be a Stones song? Is it going to be...
It's going to be Dan Cray with the song Quieter Now. I'm hoping to figure out a way to make this part of the set list for Uncharted December 15th in Lowell. Will you all be? I know it. Excited.
Am I?
It's about half the drive to Worcester, so yeah.
Yeah. I like Lowell, I think. Yeah.
I'll take what no one said ever for 500, Alex. But yeah, Quieter Now by Dan Cray, not Dan Cray and Beyond It, just Dan Cray, but hopefully we'll record there at one point.
Ooh, can't wait. Gives me a reason to live. Anyway, on that note, good luck on your trip. Come back in one piece. Get it? Oh, and don't forget.
He's pulling away. She's shutting down. It's falling apart. It's quieter now. He's pulling away. She's shutting down. It's falling apart. It's quieter now. She said it isn't the same. At least I don't see how. I'd have signed up for what we got now. He said you were a ray of sweet sunshine, but I've come to hate the sun in my eyes. He's pulling away, she's shutting down. It's falling apart, it's quieter now. She's pulling away, he's shutting down. It's falling apart, it's quieter now. There's a bright side, it's all acetylene flashes. No matter how full, they're just filthy glasses. There's a bright side, it's all acetylene flashes. No matter how full, they're just filthy glasses. He's pulling away, she's shutting down. It's falling apart, it's quieter now. He's pulling away, she's shutting down. It's falling apart, it's quieter now. She's pulling away, he's shutting down. It's falling apart, it's quieter now. There's a bright side, it's all acetylene flashes. No matter how full, they're just filthy glasses. There's a bright side, it's all acetylene flashes. No matter how full, they're just filthy glasses. He's pulling away, she's shutting down. It's falling apart, it's quieter now. He's pulling away, she's shutting down. It's falling apart, it's quieter now.